message to the heavier, the lesser to the greater. And so what he's saying is, God will take care of us. You are worth much more than many, many sparrows. And from this care of us, from our trust in this providential care, comes our response. That's why we can call the moral life, morality, responsibility. Literally, our ability to respond to grace. To respond to the pastoral challenges that are part and parcel of our own life personally and of the community of the body of Christ. Part and parcel of the backdrop for our ministry. We have had, since our opening at Pentecost Sunday, Pentecost weekend, many ideas for outreach, many ideas of where the parish could grow next, in liturgy, in prayer, in music, in hospitality, and in outreach to the poor and the needy. That's what we should be doing. That's part and parcel of the body of Christ. All we have done so far is make a journey together, leave behind our past which had served us so very well, and built a base for ministry today. It's only ever been a starting point. It's only ever been an opening. It is by no means complete. The priority is to service the debt. We can only build on ministry, I think, from this beautiful base if we are not burdened by debt. We owe 1.3 million, as Mary Cook will now tell you, and that debt has been held by a number of families, a few families in the parish who have given us interest-free loans. We need to repay that. But over to Mary, and can I say on your behalf, thank you to the steering group, the parish council, the liturgy group, people who have been leading and very hard work for our behalf and at great cost to their health and to their families' well-being. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Father Michael. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. This quote from the Ephesians, which forms part of our parish prayer, epitomises what we have achieved with the opening of our new church and parish centre. Because centred in himself and working, the power working within us of God has actually got us to where we are now. 85% of all of the requests that were made from the beginning of our journey until now have been met. The remaining 15% could not be met because they were diametrically opposed to each other. For example, some people wanted to have a sloping floor. The equal number of requests was not to have a sloping floor. And those were the sort of things that were in that 15%. During the recent open day, one lady told me that she felt walking through this building as though she was wrapped in a cloak. And I thought that was actually an interesting response, because if you remember back to when we first started on this journey, the first presentation that we had from the original architects was talking about Our Lady of Capite and the cloak wrapped around us. The person who made that comment was not a Catholic, so she had not been part of that journey. Other parishioners last week and this week have commented that it feels like coming home. And it was a wonderful experience last Friday on the Feast of Our Sacred Heart when our school children led us in the celebration of Mass, because they are our future, and it was just fantastic hearing them and the participation, the joyous participation of every single one of those children. We are a missionary people. We are building for the future, and each generation of Catholics who have lived on the Carpathy Coast have demonstrated this. Some of you sitting here will have been part or remember being involved, your parents being involved in the development of St. Patrick's Church and Our Lady of Fatima. Now we are building on from that, and we are building for the next level, the next future, which is very different to the needs of that particular time. Now is the time for all of us to continue with this legacy. In July 2018, we needed $8 million to complete our build project. It was an awful lot of money. That did not include the furniture and fittings. It was the building. 2 years later, less 1 month, in June now, as a result of pledges, donations, many fundraising events, and sale of parish property, this has been reduced to $1 million. Still sounds like a lot of money, but in relation to 2 years ago when we needed $8 million, it's not that much, and it is achievable. This is a fantastic achievement, but what is the next step? As Father Michael has commented, a small group of parishioners have very generously provided us with an interest-free loan to cover the $1.3 million. We need to repay this loan as soon as possible, not in 20 years' time. At the same time, and this is really important, we have to support the day-to-day running of the parish. Currently, we are not making ends meet. We were not making ends meet either when we still had the two churches. For the year ending March 2021, the deficit is forecast to be $40,000. Part of this is due to COVID-19, but part of it is due to increasing insurance costs, and those insurance costs are due to us being in an earthquake zone. If we had still retained Our Lady of Fatima and St. Patrick's, we would have still had to pay outstanding insurance costs, huge, and we would not have been able to meet it. This building has been built to be earthquake-proof, last at least 100 years, be economical to run. And I believe that we can make up that shortfall if we all can contribute. So we're asking, how can everyone help to repay this loan and support our parish? And there are a number of ways. Firstly, extend the term of your current pledge. In 2018, you had the opportunity to make a pledge up to 2021. If you continue with that current pledge and extend it out for a few more years, that will give us a base to operate from. If you have not yet committed to making a pledge, now is the time to start. And remember that no amount is too small. If you think of the parable of the widow's mite, $2, $1, $200, whatever you can afford. And I know that this is a difficult time for many families when people have lost their jobs through COVID-19. And I know what it's like from our early years in New Zealand when you were struggling without an income. But times will change. It might be in 6 months' time, it might be in a year's time. And if that's your position, please think ahead and plan to make a pledge then. Donations. A lot of people are getting tax returns at this time of the year, and a lot of those tax returns are on the money that you have already donated to various charities. If we didn't have a government that gave us that back, then you wouldn't get any of that. So think about donating it to our building fund. Make a bequest in your will. A lot of parishioners have said to me, I don't have the cash, but I have the assets, and I can't change that. So we are asset rich and cash poor. Well, this is where you can help by making a bequest in your will. For example, and this is a wild example, if we had 100 parishioners who were to make a $10,000 bequest in their wills, we'd have $1 million. Worth thinking about. Pray. When this church was in the process of being developed, from the day that the land was bought, we had a group of parishioners who met every single Sunday on the site to pray for this to happen. It shows that prayer does work. So we all need to continue to pray and to have faith as we continue the journey together. There is a form attached to your newsletter, and if you received your newsletter by internet, it'll be on there. And this form, you are invited to complete whichever section applies to you. So the first section are for new donors. You can choose how long you want to give it the donation for, whether it's going to be weekly, monthly, whatever. For existing donors, and we ask every existing donor to please complete this, even if you are only saying, I wish to continue with the pledge, and how long for. You may wish to increase your pledge, so there's an opportunity there. So if you're giving $20 and you want to increase it to $25, please make that clear. There is space for anyone who wishes to make a one-off donation, and I know in the past that some people have done that with great generosity. And then, method of payment is internet banking or cash. And the cash can either be through Build Fund envelopes or some envelopes that we will have available on a one-to-one basis at the back of the church. But the BNZ, which is our bank, will no longer accept cheques from the 1st of July. So you need to be aware of that. And lastly, if you would like to make a bequest, please contact me and let me know. I'll be available after Mass for anyone who wishes to discuss this further. And there is at the bottom an important part. You need to sign it and date it, and then return it either to the parish office, or you can fold it and put it in an envelope and put it in next week's collection. But we really need your assistance. We cannot do this without you. And as the last slide points out, we have done this together. We are all part of the solution. And as Father Michael said, we cannot continue to move to do all the things that we want to do if we have a huge debt hanging over us. So remember, 2 years ago we owed 8 million, we needed 8 million, now it's down to 1.3. If we can do that in 2 years, we can get this loan paid off with the support of every single person. Thank you.